it's a Scotch Test Dummies. We got the Bowmore, maybe Bowmore.
Could be.
15 darkest.
Boom, it's a sherry cask finish right up his alley with a hint of peat.
Let's test it.
We're going to test it! All right, Scott. Boom, we're bringing a Bowmore.
Bowmore. I think it's Bowmore. I'd say Bowmore.
Now, real quick, just to get out of the way, what is this?
That's a nice little decanter.
Yep. Well, I did not have a decanter, so what we had was Villa Medici contacted us and said, "Hey, love the show. Would you like to review our World Decanter on the show?" Yes. First of all, it's more glassware. We've been on a glass ensconcement right lately. So it literally looks like a globe. It's on a wooden stand. It's got
if
a
you're
nice
not
little
interested
stopper.
in any drinking accessories, then pause the video.
Yeah, pause.
Yeah.
Just rewatch. It's got a stopper
Fast
on it.
forward.
And there is a little ship right in there. That's just like an old wooden sailing ship, and then your whiskey just sits right in here.
That is fancy.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
It is neat.
And I like just having it there. Now, I've got a little fear the boys play down here, and I'm at some point a ball's going to hit it.
Oh.
But hopefully it holds strong. So we're going to have this. Again,
Now, we have been doing, Christmas is coming up. I mean, we've been looking at some glasses. If we get I don't mind reviewing drinking accessories at all.
I love it.
If it's relevant.
You're right. It's got to be relevant. Now, if I show up with like an attachment for your vacuum, call foul.
Or
you don't need to see that.
Or a keg topper, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, or hey, look at this beer stein.
Yeah.
We're pouring it into
the funnel, beer funnel?
A beer funnel?
Yeah,
sure, that would be horrible. If I start pitching a hairbrush, it's over. You're done. But no, this is cool. I love all this, and I think a lot of what's going on is it's moving into Christmas time, and folks are like, hey, we're actually got a lot of subscribers and viewers, and they want to get it out there. Here's the deal. When we get something, there'll be an honest review. If I get something, I'm like, probably the only thing on this, I actually love the glass topper. The wood's got a nice look, but it's not a very heavy wood, and it doesn't have a super heavy base, but the way the liquid sits in it, it sits solid. That was my first and only concern when I got it, was how solid is it going to be, and it's got a nice base. My next concern was, how good is the stopper? It's got to be able to preserve the whiskey that's in there. And the stoppers, they got a rubberized thing on the glass, fits in great, works well. And I immediately loaded up some, I think I got Auchentoshan in here.
Yeah, that's what you told me you put in there.
Yeah, and I immediately loaded up, got it in there, and it's a nice piece. It looks good on the shelf in the background.
It would be a nice Christmas present.
Yeah, so nice deal. But yeah, it was a review copy.
And where are those available at? Amazon?
Amazon Villa, Villa. Whoa, Villa Medici. This is the package it came in, and you can see the label there. So it was on Amazon. Go look it up there. Do a search for it. Villa Medici, and I don't think it says glass globe decanter. Oh, and there's a whiskey stone set that came with this. Let me grab that. I forgot. And then we'll get to business. This little box came with it that also says Villa Medici. It's got a little magnet on there that doesn't work when you got your whiskey stones. There's whiskey soap stones in here. I don't use whiskey soap stones. I like my whiskey room temperature, but I bought some when I was a brand new whiskey drinker, because what you do is you take this bag and you put it in the freezer, and you get these stones, and they're just a soft soapstone, but they'll hold a colder temperature. They obviously don't dilute your whiskey when you put it in there, and then it's a way you can chill your whiskey if you want. So these came with it as well. I've seen some sets that include some rocks glasses, whatever, that's fine. So, but that came with this. The box is nothing too impressive. So, but I love this. All right, Bowmore.
Real quick. Challenge coins, Scotch Test Dummy Challenge coins, numbered to 250, available on our website. They are ceramic. They're 2 inches in diameter. They work as a glass topper for your Glencairn.
Right.
Hold those aromas in there. You can take it off and you go, woo! I smell all kinds of stuff in there.
And here's the deal. So these are kind of cool. You can throw it in your pocket. We were both in the military. Challenge coins are huge. They're usually metal. We may do metal ones at some point in time. But we like the fact that these look good. Their color. And quite honestly, this, when you buy these, it helps us keep the show running. They're $10. We do make money off of them. And I know we're hawking our wares with our glasses and our coins, but that's what helps keep the show running.
Yes.
You can also always go to Patreon and follow us there and donate. We've had some people coming on. But if we don't do a little bit of this, makes it harder to keep the show coming to you. So.
I like how I said real quick, we got a challenge coin available on the website. And then you started going too.
I believe the real quick only applied to you. So I was like, boom, I'm coming in, baby.
And Patreon, we got Patreon.
Patreon, a little Patreon going on. By the way, we got a whole new set of glasses there we're going to show you. The guy that hates glasses will be like, I hate you guys, I hate you. You guys burn me, you kill me, talking about soapstone. What you got?
Okay, now you just purchased this the other day because you're going to take this on your trip with you, so we thought, well, let's get it reviewed and get it up.
I'm going to a board game convention.
My notes were a little hasty. In other words, I just took them quick.
I'm glad you defined what hasty means, in case you didn't know what hasty means.
So the Bowmore 15, it is from Isla. It's peated. It's been finished in sherry casks.
Right.
A great combination on the nose of the peat and that sherry sweetness.
Yes, but I'm going to confess, I don't always like when you put sherry in my peat.
Ah.
I'm just going to tell you right out. I wasn't sure where this would hit with you. This is like if we had a love child together.
I would take a sherry peated Scotch any day over just a peated.
See, I want like ashtray. I want like heavy peat, an Octomore. I want a Lafroig, an Ardbeg.
You take something and you're putting it in a sherry cask, that's basically talking dirty.
I want such a strong peat that if it's put in a sherry cask, the sherry cask runs away. It's like, no, we'll never hold up to the strength of the peat. That's right, baby. They'll do a test and go, well, all we got is more peat. But on that note, they have done this. I do get the sherry notes. Mm-hmm. I do get the. It's an interesting combo because deeper level, I get the peat, but I definitely have a dark fruit on the nose. I'm covering to bring it in.
You in the witness protection program?
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what that. It's probably not doing.
You've never done that before. Yeah,
I know.
I've never done that before. What are you doing?
I believe there's a complex nose here. And maybe that's, I've done that when every once in a while you'll be somewhere and someone will hand you like a plastic glass with something and I'll cover it.
Do you hate it when you go to a tasting and they've got like little plastic 1 ounce cups out with just a little sample of the whiskey in there?
I get it, but yeah, I don't like it.
I know.
I mean, I know it's a lot harder to bring bunches of glasses, clean the glasses afterward. You can do the plastic ones and throw them away. But yeah, I don't like that. When they give me those, I always cover it, and then I do what I was just doing.
It's like you're taking Robitussin. It's a little cap off of the Robit with medicine in it. And then they put the little whiskey in and you're supposed to nose it.
Right.
Isn't that part of a tasting? You're supposed to do the nosing and the tasting.
Right.
And then they don't use a nosing glass.
Yeah, but we've been at some huge deals where there's all kinds of whiskey vendors there and other spirits, and I get it. I mean, they're not going to have a glass handy.
True.
All right.
Now, I have been to a tasting though where that's what they used as well. Not those, but like an 8 ounce plastic cup with just a dash of whiskey in there.
I don't like that either. That's usually when I do that hand cover deal. I don't know why I was doing it with the Glencairn. You're right. All right. The peat I get here is a little medicinal, and it's like the peat for me on this one is kind of like when you have a stick that was burnt during a fire, and then it somehow fell out of the fire and it's sitting there, and it's cold, and it's charcoal.
And it fell on something that's plastic. I get a little bit that the Irish, the Connemara peat, When we did the Connemara peat, I did not care for it.
No, you hated it.
And I get just a hint of that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the method used to peat the barley, or what, I don't know. But I get a little bit of burnt rubber.
Well, see, I think that's the combination of the sherry that's in there, because I get some of the sherry, a little bit of the raisin, but when that sweet fruit is mixing with the peat, I think it gets a slight sourness to it on the nose, maybe.
Now, did we say, what is our percentage here? Where are we at?
Is that 43?
43%.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Good. I think we should raise our minimums from 40 to 43%. I think the Scottish and even the bourbon industry should raise the minimum to 43, maybe 45.
I like that they have the option to do 40. I
45.
prefer at least 43, but I love a cask strength. So, but hey, the whole spectrum. All right, I'm curious to see. I want to add. Have you tasted it yet, or you're adding?
Yep, I did. I took a taste. It's got a very full. It's a very sweet, very rich sherry notes coming through with the peat. It's a hint of a burnt rubber that I get with it. Not very much. Not near as much as the Connemara gave me. Peanuts. Salted peanuts.
Wow. I get a dry mouthfeel, a little astringent. I definitely get, on some sherried scotches I get a hint of almost a sour fruit. And it's not in a bad way, but it kind of lays in the background. And I get that here. And I don't necessarily get the peat that I expect here. I'm going to have to come back in and I'm going to add a little bit of water to it as well. The peat's kind of hidden on this one, and I don't get it on the forefront.
Well, it's not. I know, like you were talking, you like the little Freud's, you like the Ardbegs. The peat is here. It's not that. It's probably 50-50 with the sherry, and probably one of the most sherry influenced.
Yeah, I don't even think it's 50-50, but I'm not saying, if you overpeat this, I don't think you'll get the sherry notes. So I know they got to be careful coming in here, and quite honestly, that could be some of my biases. I am a peat head. I love the peat, and when I get a hint of the peat on the nose, my brain starts telling my tongue, look for the peat, wait for the peat, here comes the peat. And then I get more of that raisin fruit.
You could be losing a little bit of the peat though too with the 15 years.
That's true.
You're not going to have that 8-year, that 10-year peat in your face.
That is true. The longer a peated whiskey spins in the cask, the more mellow and refined it gets. Almost an apricot in the finish. And as it trails out, it cuts off real sharp. I get a little hint of the peat, but it leaves me wanting more. It just leaves me wanting some more. But I was very interested to see what you had to say on this, because for me, it's much more of a sherry influence than a peat influence.
Yeah. And with the drop of water, I think it even brings out more of the sherry. I think it tones down some of that burnt rubber that I get. It's not near as present. This one is kind of odd because the peat, the type of peat, that burnt rubber that I'm getting with it is enough off-putting for me. I like the sherry sweetness of it, and it seems good. And then I'll just catch that fading glimpse of that burnt rubber with that peat.
It's almost This is almost like a reversal of when we did the Glenlivet Nadura peated cask. When we tasted that one, there was no peat on the nose. And then when you went in and tasted it, there was this beautiful peat subtleness. This one, I get a lot more hints of the peat on the nose, but I get the reverse on the flavor. So it's kind of flipping me back and forth. I don't know. I'm pretty middling on this.
I know. I think it's good, and then sometimes I'm sitting there going, "This is good. It's tasty," and then I just get a hint of the burnt rubber peat.
Now, here's one thing we would have done had we had more time. I'm leaving for a convention where I'm going to be sharing this bottle and another. And normally, I would have let this sit maybe a month or two, and we probably would have come back to it later and see if it opens up and it changes. We're probably not going to get that chance. I got a feeling this will probably be gone. I like it, but it's not really in my wheelhouse. For me, this is an 84.
Pretty, I think it's, and the thing is, on the web, it's highly regarded. I think there's a lot of people that like it.
Yeah.
And I think it is well done. I think it's a 15-year. You got the Isla, you got the peat, you got the sherry. To me, with my palate though, that burnt rubber that's coming through, I don't care for, and it's just enough off-putting for me that I wouldn't buy this.
On the taste, they list a wonderful cedarwood, rich treacle toffee, a robust and complex finish with a hint of sherry tannin, and on the nose they say that there's a wisp of Isla smoke, and then they list sun-dried fruits and dark chocolate. I get a lot. I mean, that's the only place I get any peat is on the nose. I'm not really getting hardly any of it on the flavor. Just hints, just ducks and dives. Is it worth it? 70? Yeah, 70 and maybe a little change.
$75?
It's not in my wheelhouse, so for me, I mean, it's not a bad buy. It's a 15-year whiskey. I get it. I like the 43% ABV. I would say it's worth it, but this isn't something I would go buy again. But it's worth it. This one, if you follow more of my palate, my flavor type, folks that really like what I drink probably aren't going to want to buy this. Try it for yourself.
And that's a good point. I was going to say no, it's not worth it. But then when you look at Ugadal, or Big Ugadal, $90, and it's sherry and peat influence. Of course, there's more peat. Any of the Lefroy triple smoke or triple wood sherry cask influenced is same price range, 75. Of course, I like it better.
Right.
So in those aspects, is it worth it? Probably so. Would I buy this? No.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where I was real curious, because I knew as I tasted it for the very first time that it wasn't going to, I mean, it wasn't bad at all. I can see some of the complexities. It's got some flavor transitions that are pleasant, but they're just not my palate. Mm-hmm. So, and again, when I score something, that's just my score. So, I mean, it might be wildly different from yours, but it didn't hit me in a happy place. But yeah, I thought with the heavy sherry influence, I was real curious on your thoughts.
Yeah.
So.
All
right. Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Cilantro.
Dummies.